Nature has no rush, yet everything is completed. And I think that's an important meow meow. I think that's an important quote to focus on when it comes to our individual development, our goals, the things we're working on, our life in general. Because there's always this anxiety of wanting to do things that they're not complete, that you're running too late, that you need to work harder, that you need to work faster, and all of these things. And since this is a martial arts channel, let's kind of just try to stick with that for a little bit. So again, when it comes to martial arts, you always feel bad. They're like, oh man, if I only started sooner or did X or did Y. And it's interesting to me that I finally reached the point where people ask me and they're impressed with my commitment to do martial arts. I've been doing it too long. To me, it's not a big deal because this is kind of my life. It's normal. And now I'm like, wow, because I don't think about it. And now people ask how long you've been doing it. I'm like, okay, I've been training for 20 years. And like, oh, wow. To me, that's not a big deal. But I remember when I started when I was 17 years old. And to me, I was like, oh, if only I started before when I was 15 or 10 or 5, because you meet these child prodigies that they start when they're small and they're amazing. So these are, I point that out now because these are kind of one of these narratives that in anything it could be. It could be learning piano. It could be perfecting your electrical skills. It could be programming, anything. Always somebody else had a different starting point, right? And you always comparing how like, damn, that's probably why I'm not good enough. It's this constant anxiety narrative that I guess in a way is part of life. So look at the same with me, martial arts, training 20 years. I've had my time periods where I had to stop, where something happened, where I get hurt, my job changes. I spent a couple weeks that I can't train, maybe months. You move around, you have children. And a lot of people get into martial arts and something like this happens and then they never train again. You're like, and they always have a reason why they can't train again. But martial arts, at least the way I approach it, it's a way of living. So it's a habit. When I exercise, I don't do this. This makes no fucking sense to me. I focus on my martial arts skills. And despite all this time, you know, maybe I'm not in the same shape as when I do a fight camp, but overall my skills have improved. I train with higher quality fighters. I teach better than ever. And now I know how to integrate these things in the modern world, be it on when it comes to working with martial arts businesses and fitness and fight promotions and marketing and all of that stuff. So that's really great just to, you know, really just try to evolve with things as it grows. You know, we might have this ideal for martial arts. No, I have to be the world champion or look like sensei. Like, no, you have your individual journey. You know, the kid that started at 6 years old, cool. I wish I started that young. And I remember when I started, I was 17. There was little kids, 5 years old. I had to do the same drills that they did. But you got to put your ego on the side. Understand that that's the progression, right? You understand the mechanics. And as an instructor or as a practitioner, you're going to come into contact with kids, children, who can perform the techniques that you're showing way better than you can. And the difference is that they're a child, you're an adult, but you know how to teach it. They're a child, but they figured it out. They understand the mechanics. They're able to display. And you know what's really sad about prodigies, and this happens again in any skill or path, is that because they're so good, and everyone tells them they're so amazing, the first bump, their first hardship, which are part of things to encounter difficulty, they give up and quit because you know they're not used to dealing with the hardship. Or like I said, something happens, your life changes, you move around, you get older, you get injured. All it's just you have to change that part of your life. This may sound almost simple, silly when I say it this way, But because you stopped brushing your teeth, you forgot to brush your teeth yesterday. And for some strange reason, you forgot it another day. Damn, you lost the habit of brushing your teeth. Man, I can't go back to it. I'm not going to brush my teeth anymore. I used to brush my teeth, but, fuck it. Now I need a dentist. I need government to help me. That's like I'm the spiritual boomer I mentioned. That's how they start to think. Don't get into that, all right? Be responsible for ourselves. So if you want to develop a skill, you want to stick to martial arts. Even if it's step by step by step, you're getting better because it's your individual, your own individual path. I trained jiu-jitsu with this older man, slim, white head, and I go to the gym. You see this man? He's purple belt. See him rolling around. He's very careful, very relaxed. Taps everybody out. You see the young guys, the wrestling champion. They all they got no neck. The wrestlers are just jacked, showing off, hype because they're young dudes. Yes, get into this jiu-jitsu stuff, right? And the old man, he's got everybody tapped out like a snake. No effort, relax. He's not even a black belt. So I'll get to know him, like, when did you start practicing? How old were you? And he's like, I don't remember the exact number. He's like, he's in his late 50s when he started training. And yeah, he's teaching the classes. He's a purple belt. It's amazing. It's kept him healthy. He's hanging out with all these young people all the time. We all respect them. And look at that. He's an older man. That keeps him in tune with hanging out with different people, doing a cool activity. He's strong. And I'm telling you, he don't look super fit, right? He's a slender guy, but this guy could purple belt, right? So there you go. And real jiu-jitsu purple belt. And likewise, in fitness, something happens to you. Oh, I'm not like these young people. I'm older. I'm this. I'm that. You're going to always find a reason that is a problem. So that's what I was trying to identify from the beginning. This is an anxiety. This is something that always exists. It's part of the psyops that we're around. It's in your own mind. Accept it. Okay, cool. I didn't start. That's gone. And what could you do? Oh man, all I could do is just a couple shadow box. That's it. And you're improving from there. Another thing that's interesting when it comes to martial arts and this path and walking, realizing your own progression, the goals or the motives that got you interested into doing something, it may shift over time. I can't remember the exact Bruce Lee quote, but it's something around how you have a goal and eventually at some point you reach this goal and realize that goal was meaningless to you. And it's time to let that goal go. But that goal was a stepping stone to get you to the next goal, the goal that you really want. But you didn't understand. You didn't have the framework to be able to do it. You can look at it as in climbing a mountain. You're climbing the mountain, you reach a summit. You finally reach the summit. We see there's more to climb. This is a typical martial arts analogy. So we keep going up to the next summit. And that goes on perpetually. If you understand martial arts, you get that this is a lifelong process. You're including this in your life. You do not have to train 8 hours a day, like supposedly the pro fighters do. And even that doesn't even make sense. It's unsustainable. It's not good for your health. One thing that I love about karate is very common to train with older people. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because the way you're training is sustainable, that you're not getting injured, you're being productive with your time, you're spending a positive time with other people, integrating, walking the path of martial arts, and you're not torn into pieces. Whereas there's other people that are taking fitness and they're getting hurt, and not even just obviously in martial arts, but even in other things, like you shouldn't be lifting weights to get hurt. You shouldn't be doing martial arts to get hurt and be a disabled person, right? And fuck up your knees and your back and your neck. That is not the point of that. You need to change your training. at different stages, you need to train either harder or softer or smarter and modify. And as I've been learning, I've learned from so many different paths. I started with Shotokan karate, right? I said other videos, I've done boxing, Muay Thai, learn from people who do Taekwondo. I learn people from the Kung Fu. I learn people who do jiu-jitsu, people who do wrestling, people who do, it's always something to pick up in there. And same thing when it comes to physical training, like when it comes to kettlebells. Now I really like animal flow and movement training, because when it comes to training people, I could work with all sorts of people, do something that is low risk, has high yield, and it doesn't make them feel, you know, run down and aggravated, yet you're building strength, flexibility, and it fits very well with martial arts. And especially working with seniors, oh my God, I've gotten their flexibility, mobility on another level since I've been using Animal Flow to teach, integrating that into my teaching for whoever needs it. So again, don't compare yourself to other people. Everyone is at a different stage. And see how I said earlier, I started with people who are better than me, cool. And that's great. Everybody is good one day, best off, looking crazy, but you're not the same. If you're training with the same sparring partner and actually things are going well, that sparring partner, you'll kick his ass one day. He'll kick your ass the next day. Then you got out of shape because you have something else. He was in the gym. He beats you up. You get back in shape. Bow, you're back on it. Then he gets out of shape. You get the point. A positive companionship like that, it just keeps people propelled. Doesn't matter what's going on. And when you're training with people who it is positive, you enjoy the training, you're learning, you're not getting hurt, and all the unmentioned positive things that I imply. It's easy to keep a consistent routine or develop a routine to stay training. So, and again, people who are better than me, I remember like uh, other companions from the school, black belts already, beat me up, beat me up, beat me up, boom, boom. I move up the ranks, move up the ranks. Eventually, I was able to hang with them, and they're higher ranks, whatever. But you learn martial arts at a proficiency that you can finally train. You put these guys to work. That's what I try to achieve with my students. I always spar with the students. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter the climb. Like the way that they know they're getting better is like you measure yourself against me. I gradually raise the intensity. I understand where they're at. They feel great. They love it because it's the same principle. They're not getting hurt. And when you're sparring like that, you're improving. But I guess I kind of lost the idea. Like it's very important for me to spar with the students, and that way I know where they're at, and I can always kind of fine tune and adjust all the things they need to learn. And I let them go spar. Maybe they finally have the confidence to spar with someone else. But the point is that they're doing it. They're having fun. I know where it's at. And oh man, I kind of lost myself there at the end. Where's I going with this? Just I think it's important for me to spar with my students. Yeah, they're not getting hurt. Yeah, I guess I lost the idea. So if you want to train with me, now you have an idea. Sorry about that, guys. So you have an idea about how I train to help you stay consistent with things. I hope this message resonates, to stop comparing yourself. Flexibility, smarts, business, everyone is at a different starting point. It's all right. Stick to the path. Step up. You don't compare. Skills are stacking every day. Small wins at a time. Practical ways. Again, like what I said with martial arts. Look at it. You don't have a gym. You don't have who to train with. You know how to throw a 1-2. That's the first thing. So stand there. How many? Oh man, if I do 20, I did something. 1, 2, 3. I'm not going to do 20. You get the idea. You're 20 reps. That's progress. It helps improve your skill. And now you're in flow state that you're likely going to do more. So you can always train on your own. You're trying to learn programming, skill, math, whatever it is. It's the same thing. Just put in the time, pick a problem or a project. You know what the project is, make it small, guide it to completion, stack the wins, moves in from there. All skills are built like that. You don't have to run. You don't have to make these massive changes. What you think of it as crawling. Just crawl, crawl, crawl. And even if you crawled your way there, the task is completed. So that's the martial mindset I wish to impart you guys with. If you want to check out more practical ways, I have the Fear Transmutation Manual. Transform your fear into power. It's free. Check it out on my website at the Sovereign Warrior Philosopher Hub. There you can find everything I'm doing when it comes to the one-on-one training, the Sovereign Retreat that we're doing in the mountains by the end of the year. That's going to be great. And everything else. And check out the Substack with all the long-form blogs and everything. You're going to love it. It's amazing. Yeah, so check that out, guys. I'd love to hear what you think about this. At least on YouTube, I'm trying to stay on the comment. I want YouTube to grow because I really believe these messages can help a lot of people, and that's why I'm doing it. It helps correct me. I grow. Other people grow. It forces me to get better. I connect to the right people. Boom, 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 boom. We're creating sovereign structures, letting the Goy Slop universe behind. That's what we're doing here. And if you're down with that, like and subscribe. Harold here. Thank you for watching. Have a good one. Os.